Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Now it's time to discover your legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio. And today we're going to be talking about long-term care deficiencies. Did you know that more than half of us are predicted to experience a long-term care event at some time in our lives? The United States Health and Human Services projects that 56% of Americans turning 65 today are expected to develop a significant disability serious enough to require long-term care services and supports. Long-term care is expensive. In Texas, there's an average cost for non-medical home care provider at $30 an hour. And at 44 hours per week, that comes out to about $5,720 a month and $68,640 a year. Assisted living community in Texas is thought to be an average of $5,600 a month, which is $67,200 a year. Nursing home, a semi-private room, which is not private, is about $185 a day, $5,627 a month, or $67,525 a year. If you want a private room in Texas, those run about $250 a day, or $7,604 a month. So long-term care is expensive. Did you budget for that? Do you have high retirement income? Do you have a lot of money and investments saved up? Did you buy long-term care insurance? Are you going to rely on unpaid family members to take care of you? Are you going to rely on public government benefits? And if you spent all of your life savings to pay for home care, assisted living, memory care, or nursing home care, and there was no inheritance for your children and grandchildren, would you be upset? This is a hidden legal blind spot. In 2006, I wrote an article called Reliance on Government Benefits and the Struggle for Long-Term Care. It was published by the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. And my philosophy is based on something I read by a British scholar known as Blackstone. There is a moral responsibility, even higher than the legal, for children to help their needy parents. The duties of children to their parents arise from a principle of natural justice and retribution. For those who gave us existence, we naturally owe subjection and obedience during our minority, and honor and reverence ever after. They who protected the weakness of our infancy are entitled to our protection in the infirmity of their age. They who by sustenance and education have enabled their offspring to prosper ought in return to be supported by that offspring in case they stand in need of assistance. You can find that in Commentaries on the Laws of England by William Blackstone. That was published in 1836. That was a long time ago. I think those principles still ring true today. For those of you who thought Medicare would pay for non-medical home care, assisted living, memory care, and nursing home care, or didn't have a high-paying job to help you save for retirement and need government benefits to pay the high cost of long-term care, call the show right now at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. Let me know where you're listening from, and I'll email or mail you a copy of my long-term care deficiencies checkup. so you can know what the legal issues are when qualifying for Medicaid to pay the high cost of long-term care. Or you can email me at host@talklawradio.com. That's HOST@talklawradio.com, and put in the subject long-term care, and in the body of the email, tell me where you're listening from, and I will email you the long-term care deficiencies checklist. But don't wait until you're already broke. If Warren Buffett and Bill Gates can avoid federal estate taxes by legal planning, I believe that people in the middle class can use the tax dollars they've already paid in the form of government benefits to help pay the high cost of long-term care. The general rules are that everyone who dies owning assets worth more than $15 million is subject to the estate tax. But Warren Buffett and Bill Gates can't avoid the estate tax through legal planning. So the general rules are that you must have low assets and low income in order to qualify for Medicaid to pay for long-term care. But there are exceptions to those rules in Texas as well. I just made it my business to know all the exceptions to the rules to help people save and protect their home, their business, their ranch, and some money. You'll want to save some money so that your family can buy you things to make you more comfortable. Medicaid might pay for the nursing home, but that doesn't cover everything that will make you more comfortable. By the way, it's hard to qualify for Medicaid because in the beginning, God had one law: don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. And now we have municipal, state, and federal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws that might impact you without you knowing it. So listen to Talk Law Radio. Find this episode on podcasts everywhere and on YouTube, and share them with your parents, with your siblings, with your neighbors, with your friends, so they can learn that there's a lawyer out there, and there's lots of elder law attorneys in San Antonio and Houston, to help people qualify for benefits so they can receive a high quality long-term care and save some money to pay for things that the government doesn't pay for. Here's a question from the long-term care deficiencies checklist. Does the individual in need of care own a home? Did you know that an individual who needs care can qualify for Medicaid even if they own a home valued at less than $752,000? That's crazy, right? You can qualify for Medicaid and keep your home. Now, if you sell that home and turn it into cash, then the cash counts against you. But the home itself is not countable when you're filling out the Medicaid application. The catch is that the government's going to want you to sell the home after the Medicaid recipient dies and repay the state of Texas for the value of the benefits that the state paid out. Again, there are exceptions to these rules. This is Texas. It's the have your cake and eat it too state. There are legal and ethical ways for you to avoid Medicaid estate recovery program. Call an elder law attorney to find out how. Here's another question from the long-term care deficiencies checklist. Does the individual in need of care own real estate in addition to a home? Do they own a farm, a ranch, or a business? There are exceptions to the rules that might allow you to qualify for Medicaid even if you own a home and a farm or a ranch or a business. Don't let your friends, neighbors, and family members give you legal advice. Call an elder law attorney to fact check the legal advice non-lawyers are giving you. This is Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, and today we're talking about the Long-Term Care Deficiencies Checklist. If you want a copy of this checklist, call the radio station right now at 210-308-8867. That's 210-308-8867. Tell us where you're listening from and that you want the checklist. Or email me at host@talklawradio.com. That's HOST@talklawradio.com. In the subject, type deficiencies, long-term care in the body. Let me know where you're listening from and how I can get you that checklist. If it's by email, of course, I'll just reply to the email. If you call the station, you'll have to tell Mark what your email address is or your mailing address. I can send something through the mail. I once did that. We used to send a lot of mail, didn't we? So I'm talking about long-term care deficiencies because long-term care is expensive, and if you saved up your money and you have a lot of money or a lot of investments, of course you can pay for it out of those accounts. If you didn't have an opportunity to save up a lot of money, or if you think the government induced you into believing that Medicare would pay for all of this, and you just didn't know that you needed long-term care insurance, maybe you have to rely on the government benefits. But don't wait until you're broke, because if you're broke, then you can't pay for things that the government doesn't otherwise pay for. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about the estate planning deficiencies checklist. Now that's about last wills and living trusts and tax-protected inheritance plans. You can find that episode on podcasts everywhere or YouTube. Just go to those sites and search for Talk Law Radio deficiencies, and you'll see those episodes come up on your screen. You can listen to them while you're walking the dog, working in the garage, or washing the dishes, and then share them with your friends, family, and neighbors so that they know how to plan for this. And do you really want your son and daughter or granddaughter or grandson taking care of you? Do you want them helping you with toileting, with showering, or do you want to have a paid caregiver do those kinds of things? So this is Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. In the next segment, we'll be talking about sinners and saints, and I have some other local news for Houston and San Antonio during that segment. And then we'll talk about legacy and Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. I don't know why people say that. We're supposed to be honoring people that gave their lives in defense of our country so that we can be free. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.